Oh, it's episode 282 of the Midnight in the Bay podcast, and I'm doing no music intro because I want to spend as much time as I can with this guest. I brought in a guest because I was getting comments on YouTube saying, like, we're sick of just you. You know, like people were
Oh,
saying,
who
like,
could get sick of you, Alex? I don't know.
I a lot of people have gotten sick of me, but I just asked my family. But yeah, I had to kick my son out to do this podcast, if you can't tell by the room. But this isn't my.
I thought those were your, all your favorite things. Little model helicopter. What else we have?
Yeah,
A
yeah. You know
T-Rex
what?
back
That
there.
is
Is
kind
that
of a that is kind of a dad thing to have, like the man cave. Where the wife says, "Hey, you got to put all your stuff in this one room. It cannot be in public when people come over. You got to close the door when people come over." But no, it's I wish it was. It's very cool. He's got like an autograph basketball there, which basically I did the autographs. It was cheaper just to do that and say Kobe Bryant signed it, you know. Oh yeah, the Lakers signed it.
if your kid goes to therapy later on, we'll know why.
Right. Well, which hopefully the state will pay for. But yeah, I got
They
to get
usually cover that in prison. Yes.
Karen. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Where can people find you real quick because I always forget that.
Oh, I am at Karen Braswell Comedy on Instagram and Karen
Okay.
Braswell on Facebook.
And Karen's a comedian, and she's the coolest Karen I've ever met. And I know that's hack. I'm sure that you get that a
Yeah.
lot. You're a
Also,
cool
probably
Karen,
the youngest Karen you've met.
probably, but it's Karens always get the bad rap. I think there's a lot of other names of crazy white women out there, like Kathy. I feel like Kathy can be
Yeah.
kind of a mean person, or Linda. Ooh.
Linda. I'm surprised it didn't land on Linda.
Actually,
I,
you know what? Kathy's actually kind of nice. Kathy brings food over when your parents are out of town, and then she knows
yeah.
you're home alone, but she's also checking on you, making sure you're safe. Linda's the one that said, "Hey, he had a party. Arrest him. He's on ecstasy."
Linda will rat you out. Yeah.
Right. So, you know what? It looks like you're in like a fancy hotel room.
Oh, this virtual background? No, this is my house. The nice electrical box here. There is
Yeah.
the dog on the couch. Whoops. Dog on the couch.
Is that IKEA?
No, but the rest of it over here is IKEA.
And you're in San Francisco?
Yes, San Francisco. I've lived out here about 5 years now.
Balling, making millions of dollars a year.
No, comedy's my full time right now.
Oh, yeah. Then you're not. You're making
no.
you're making tens of dollars,
Mad drink tickets.
right?
Yeah.
Tens of dollars. But you love it, right? That's what you tell your parents. No, I love it. You tell your friends. They kind of look at you. I hate talking comedy with other people because if they, hey, can I ask you how much you get paid for a comedy show? And you tell them $20 and a free drink, they look at you like you're should be in a mental institution.
Yeah. No. They think I'm messing with them.
Right.
They think I'm just pulling their chain. Like, get out of my way. Don't get into the business too. Because obviously, they'd start comedy 2 weeks later and, get booked all over the place. And they think it's my competition. I'm like, no. It really does pay $20 and a drink ticket.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I didn't know until I got into comedy, but and now there's a lot of comedy podcasts out there that kind of talk about it and kind of open people's eyes of what comedians go through. That's why you see a comedian crying when they have a special, they get their first special, they're like in tears, you know what I mean? Because all the shitty pay and crappy rooms and hecklers and families questioning them.
The
So.
ones I think whose families are the hecklers, those are the ones who make it a lot faster.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Just
I
a
mean,
hunch.
you could
Just a
take you
hunch.
could take you could take a lot. So, and I definitely grew up with that. I don't know about you. Did you grow up on the East Coast?
Yeah, I grew up in Western New York in Rochester. And then when I finished college, I moved to New York City straight away and worked a million hours doing Wall Street type work.
Like Wolf of Wall Street.
Like that, but no, I was the only woman. I was the only woman in the group and, got a lot of flack for it.
why weren't there more women?
It's just the time that it was. So, I mean, I know I look fresh and but I'm 42, so I started working on Wall Street in 2003, and even back then, 2003, it was still, just very, very male dominated. There weren't, what do I want to say? There weren't like HR departments that wanted to have diversity or anything like that. That just wasn't a concept yet.
Right. Yeah, it sounds like it reminds me of school.
Yeah.
The names my football coach called me.
Oh yeah.
I've talked about that. He couldn't be a football coach nowadays. The shit he would say to the half black kid, I can't repeat.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And as kids, they just called it motivation. And I told my parents, like we tell our parents and my friends, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's good for you." I'm like, I don't know. He's called me a lot of homophobic slurs here.
Yeah. It builds character, and you're like, nah.
No, I don't know. I have no
Because this other guy's getting paid more. Yeah.
I have no self-esteem. I can't talk to a female.
Yeah. Well, no, that's birth control at that point, right? They're like, well,
Right,
we want
right.
to kind of make them really be on edge. So
Oh
we're going
yeah,
to make
he
it
would.
so.
Oh yeah, my football coach would say, "Don't come. You can't come before a game. Don't be up with your little girlfriends and stuff." Crazy shit. I mean,
Wow.
yeah, I guess he was like a military, but we were good. That's the whole thing. That's why I think the parents and like the faculty, they knew all about how. I mean, this guy was so crazy. He'd rip like I heard a rumor he ripped his shorts off because the football coach wore these little shorts back in the day. You wear little shorts.
Oh, I remember those. Yeah.
Well, actually, that time the it wasn't little shorts. That was like 80s, 90s. The coach would wear that. All of us was wearing baggy stuff. Early
Yeah.
2000s. It was all baggy. But anyways, he ripped him off, I guess. That was the rumor. That's how angry he got, like a bad play. So this guy, yeah, and he had the craziest varicose vein.
Oh.
It looked like a boa constrictor down his leg. So he got angry. The more varicose veins and veins you have popping out, it just means you've gotten really angry. Angry people have crazy veins, and I
Oh, and it's like throbbing. Like
right.
that
Oh,
same vein probably exists, like the Harry Potter thing on
you
his.
probably saw that on Wall Street.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There was a rumor that a boss that I had at a company that I'm not going to admit to, just for whatever reason, but
Yeah, yeah, legal
that he
purposes.
he ripped the door off of his office. Like he tried to get there early one day and all the offices were locked. And so he managed to rip the door off the hinges.
That's
This is
crazy.
yeah, this is back when everything was solid wood and everything.
That's when people were doing cocaine, not worrying about fentanyl.
Oh,
That
yeah. Oh yeah.
guy was on coke for sure.
Must have been.
Did
Yeah.
you see that out there?
I didn't,
Oh,
but
okay.
I do this in my comedy set that I have we would always have to take clients out and entertain them. So you go to the steakhouse, you take them to dinner, and then they'd always try to say, "All right, good night, Karen. Good night." Try to put me in one of those black cars, send me home. And I'm like, no, no, no. I know you guys are going to the strip club, and I know that's where the real work gets done. And so I try to invite myself and try to keep it going. But they kept trying to. Yeah, I was kind of a buzzkill.
Yeah, you're a cock,
Lo and
you're,
behold, I was a buzzkill. But
you're a cock block for sure.
yeah,
But
yeah,
the girls are like, "What? Why'd you invite her?" Which is kind
yeah.
of sexist. Now, I don't think. I think you would be. I think encouraged. You know what I mean? It's a lot more diverse now. But even back then, I don't even think women were allowed in strip clubs back then.
I've been to a strip club or two.
Yeah.
Then yeah, yeah. Not to work there. Not to work there. No,
Well,
I
what's
say.
funny is I doubt that they got any work done there, right?
Oh, it's relationship building. You know,
Right.
I won't tell your wife as long as you don't tell my wife. Yeah, that.
I got something like that around here where we live. There's a bar called The Office. So she's called, "Where are you?" And I'm like pounding a couple IPAs because I just want to be a little loose when I go home. You know what I mean? The
I'm at
worst
the
thing.
office on.
Well, I was just gonna say the worst thing is showing up home, angry or like upset. It's better to come home a little, maybe pull over on the way home and smoke a little something or grab a drink, and then you're loose and daddy, and you're jumping. So fun.
Yeah. That's how I like to get home. I'm like, ooh, daddy. Hi.
Right,
No, I'm
right.
kidding. You and I go to very different homes.
Yeah, I know. We're very different people, but that's the great thing about comedy, right? Is you can have a lineup of someone who's, hanging out at orgies and he looks like, he should be on the cover of JQ and whatever, and then, I come up, it's like a dad, or a black guy who used to be homeless, or a Karen that used to work on Wall Street, or a guy in a wheelchair. And so that's kind of fun, so I kind of get why people ask for diverse lineups and stuff, but us white guys aren't too bad. You can have a couple of us.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But the Wall Street thing is that's pretty cool, but it's not like the movies.
Parts of it were like The Big Short. That was definitely like that was a certain era of the credit crisis that I worked throughout, and a
Yeah.
lot of that hit home for me. I worked on a lot of deals like that just blew up spectacularly around
Uh,
this time. And so, yeah, watching some of those scenes, and it was based on the book,
uh-huh.
and that was like a really journalistic account of what all happened during the credit crisis, and that was tough to watch. But something like Wolf of Wall Street is a lot more entertaining. I mean, there are these larger than life characters and egos out there, but me as a lowly analyst, associate, vice president, I was insulated from them. I didn't get to spend time with them, which is good.
So you probably went in and things were probably really great for a while, and then a lot of bad things happened towards the later 2000s, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was the kind of work environment where you go in, you get to leave your office for 5 minutes a day to go pick up lunch.
Oh,
Just go outside,
and
get
then
your
you
salad, come back,
yeah.
eat at your desk, and like work throughout.
Oh God.
And then you order dinner, and they deliver, whatever company delivers it to your desk. I don't want
Oh,
to say back in my day, before there was Grubhub and Uber Eats and all
yeah.
that. Somebody had to walk around. We'd have the intern do it.
Uh-huh.
Walk around to everybody, have the trifold menu for the sushi place
Uh-huh.
stapled to a white piece of paper, just like copy paper, and you write down your order. And then once it gets around to everybody, then somebody phones it in.
Wow. And then a little guy on a bike that worked
Yeah,
at a restaurant, actual restaurant, would go.
yeah.
Took a lot longer than Uber and all that.
Oh my God, yeah. And it's 9:30 at night, and I'm gnawing
Yeah,
my arm off because I'm hungry. But yeah, then you'd
that's
have
crazy.
dinner at your desk, and then it would be late enough at night. And said take a taxi home and expense it. So
Wow. Jeez, it's
after
kind
doing
of
that
like
for so, okay.
YouTube does that where they make it fun to work at. They got like slides in their place and arcades. It's like a kid's room because they don't want you to leave.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I worked at YouTube, but like in the kitchens, and so I'd be there early in the morning. I really get to check it out. Every toilet had a bidet, heated. They had they would tell you to stock the fridge with beer. They literally had slides from the second floor to the first floor, and that was the whole thing. Is they wanted people basically almost like to live there. They had sleeping pod rooms.
Oh wow.
I mean, so it's almost like secret slavery. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they do pay pretty well. But still, you still can be I feel like a slave in a way. Um, I'm sure my black listeners aren't liking how I phrase this, but I'm sure you can be, unfairly worked and still make money.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
the Wall Street thing sounds like I would like have a heart attack or like suicide. I feel like it's probably a big thing.
Well, everything came down to. I mean, Wall Street is has a reputation for paying well. It's different than in tech, where everybody gets equity refreshes and you know, high salaries and all that. Wall Street, you pay you a nice base salary, but everything is in that one day where you get your bonus.
Uh huh.
And that's just a lot of money. And the thing is, you could piss off your boss 2 weeks before bonuses are paid, and you could get your bonus cut in half, something like that. So it's this
Oh shit.
thing looming over your head always of like fall into line. You got to make everybody happy. You can't piss off certain people. You have to show that you're better than your colleagues. Otherwise, they'll get more of a bonus and you'll get less.
That's what I got from the movies is it's very competitive, very cutthroat. Sounds like people didn't really have a life. No wonder they're going to strip clubs and doing coke and ripping doors off and shit. You know what I mean? I mean that's basically
Yeah.
your life. That's your comedy. That's your stand-up comedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I had no time for hobbies or anything like that. So
Oh no, yeah. I mean, would you have weekends off?
quite often, yeah, like certain jobs I'd have weekends off. Other jobs, I mean, I worked at least one weekend day.
And people would be, oh, let's go to the Hamptons, right? The Hamptons is where a lot of Wall Street people go.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's all they say work hard, party hard, but
right.
it's too much. You
Yeah.
know, that lifestyle is not what I want.
So why do you think back to the I'm fascinated by the you were the only woman. Why do you think that?
I mean, it wasn't a very supportive environment
Yeah.
for women. You know, a lot of times, like the guys that got in there, um, it was easier for them to mirror the behavior of the guys who are more senior to them. You can say, "Oh, this is what a really hard charging, vice president or managing director does." Okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna replicate that myself. But when I try to do that, I've had colleagues, female colleagues, tell me this too. That it's just, oh, you get looked on like, "Oh, this guy's assertive, but you're aggressive."
Right.
This guy's a pit bull, but you're a bitch, like so many
So it's a
ways
lot
like that.
harder as a woman to do exactly what were you doing?
I was analyzing deals. I was doing a lot of deal modeling,
So were you on the phone a
negotiating.
lot? Negotiating? Were you on the phone a lot?
Yeah, yeah, a lot of negotiating on the phone or just going back and forth on email.
And people don't really want to deal with a woman with all that?
I think there was at that time definitely that felt like there was a you walk into the room and it was a certain way.
Right.
Everybody had a certain here we go,
Right.
an attitude there. And I'm sure that was better in 2003 than in 1993 or than
Oh my
1983. I'm
God, I
sure it
can't
was,
imagine the 80s. Whew, they would
yeah,
have been pantsing you. They would have been
yeah.
messing with you. They would have been hazing you. Like, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, we could laugh about it now because we've made progress. But yeah, that's crazy. Even that wasn't even that long ago, 20 years, that it was like that. And I know how those guys talk too, especially if it's all boys too. You have to deal with that and
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
probably the degrading of women is like every other paragraph, you know.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I remember that. Just hearing them, like, stuff I don't even want to repeat in as many words, but just
Yeah,
like,
where my sons
oh,
are. Yeah,
yeah. Oh, are you going to be a little blunt?
yeah,
Because you can't figure this out, you can't get this done. Only a bleep would act like this. That kind
right.
of thing. Probably like pretty similar to the way your football coach would talk to you
Oh,
guys.
they probably would have gotten along. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know like East Coast people are very aggressive. I guess I don't, is it the weather? I don't know, but it's very like, hey, suck my cock and hey, you
Yeah.
fugazi and uh very like your mama smells jokes. I feel like people, you know. Like a lot of comedians that grew up in New York City and stuff, they're like really good roasters and like just just people. And I've met people like people have grown up in like urban settings. They're good at roasting because they got roasted themselves. You know what I mean?
Oh
I
yeah.
got roasted a little bit, but in the suburbs, we could be tattletales and or whatever that word is. Um, and tell and get kids in trouble and so we were kind of privileged,
Where did you grow up? Did you grow up in the Bay Area?
Pleasanton.
Okay.
I don't know. Have you been to Pleasanton?
Yeah, yeah. I can't say it's a place I know very well, but
Um,
been there.
it's very just white. Like the black kids in our school, like used someone else's address. They really lived in like Oakland. You know what I mean? It was very Asian. It's gotten more Asian Indian now. Just people coming over and they're taking over. Ah, that's what my dad says. He
Oh God. You're
talks
like,
Native.
we can't talk like that, Dad."
Yeah. Oh God. You know what? I used to fight him on stuff, and now I can't. I mean, when the Bud Light thing came out, I just had to hit mute and kind of put the phone down. I kind of just let him rant, because you're not gonna change an old person's views.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why argue? I just let people have their view. I just don't. I'm not gonna try to correct them. It's just you can't argue with an older person. You know what I mean? And I'm at that age where I'm done trying to convince people. I'm at that point in my comedy where I'm like, you know what? People aren't gonna like me. I don't have the fans yet, so I'm gonna do shows. The majority of the time, there may be people that don't like me. You know what I mean? Or like my material, or and you just maybe I just gotta get better. I mean, definitely, we always can get better, but also I just can't take it personal.
Yeah.
I went on a little tangent there. I don't know what I was
No,
talking.
I'm curious. Are there certain audiences that you feel you do best with, or conversely, like just wow, every time I get in front of an audience like this, it's always a struggle?
Well, I've had people tell me that like my fans are gonna be people like me, like dads, white dudes. I don't know, but I do have a coworker that's black. I make laugh. I think actually that's really helped because he knows I'm a comedian. I can like run stuff by him, check like, is this racist? You know what I mean? Because sometimes like maybe you don't know something's a little harsh. I don't know how people are gonna take it. You do kind of have to run stuff by people before you bring it on stage. I believe. So a lot of times, sometimes I don't, and you're taking a risk. But I mean that's comedy too. But I don't know. Back to the audience. I don't know. That's like hard to say. I think to be a good comedian, I think you should be able to do like really well in front of anyone. You know.
Yeah.
I and every audience is different, and every show is different. But and I feel like older white people. I feel like I struggle with.
Hmm.
I looked on my Instagram insights and the data analytics, and it's a lot of 25 to 34-year-olds that watch my stuff, and like 35 to 40. And I've told my parents jokes, and I've showed them YouTube videos, and they're like, "You shouldn't joke about that." So I know older people may not like my stuff, but I'm not. I'm not doing comedy for my parents or even my
Yeah.
wife. You know what I mean? I'm doing it for me. What makes me laugh? I'm not getting paid enough. I know for all of us, for Karen, for me, for fucking Stroy Moyd, there's an audience for everyone. There's enough people in the world. How many people are in the world? I mean, there's got to be 10,000 people each for us that we can somewhat of a living, maybe I like to have a little side hustle. I make a lot of money. I don't, my job's like not super hard, but I wish it didn't take up so much time.
Yeah.
If I could commit more time to comedy, because it is like you get home, you're like, oh, I gotta go here, or I've been struggling writing because I just haven't had, and I rather play video games. I rather just turn my brain off. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I get that. Sometimes it's just you're too tired to think creatively.
And I've never liked homework.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've never liked, but I take notes throughout the day and I'll think of something I can add to a set of jokes. I feel like that's good enough. You're not gonna crush it every show. What I do recently, have you bombed recently really bad that you learned from?
Oh God. I mean, yeah, those come to mind. Yeah, where it's just like,
Right.
come on, everything I'm doing, everything I'm
You
throwing
record
at.
everything?
Yeah, I do. It's hard. I gotta say, it's hard to go back and watch or listen to myself, but it's important.
Sometimes too is I mean, there's a fine line being aggressive with the audience, but sometimes it's kind of fun to fuck with the audience. Like if you say a premise and people don't like laugh or like go for it, you'd be like, "Oh, you guys never dealt with that," or I guess
Yeah.
you're this kind of
Hmm.
person, or you know what I mean? Then you can maybe get a laugh, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so I'll shit on myself to get a laugh if something doesn't work, or that always helps too, throwing the egg on your face, you know? That
Oh
always
yeah.
that always helps. But yeah, no, I've had a couple, and I've talked about it on the podcast. I've had a couple people stop my shows.
Oh wow. Wow.
And it's not even like, and I've told people the joke, it's not even like bad. It's not like I'm saying like the N word or something on stage, you know? It's like just a slight, it's like about a subject that people are just have mixed feelings. And I don't know. Maybe people go to comedy shows that shouldn't go to comedy shows. I don't know. You know what I mean? You can't really be sensitive.
Oh. I'm curious. So they stopped it not because of the audience reaction or not because the audience was just bored, but because of your subject matter?
Yeah, so and I was kind of new, so I got mad at the person. I so basically the joke is my wife's Mexican, her family invited me when I first started dating her to a picnic. They asked me to bring some, so the day of the picnic I'm driving there and I called them and I said, "Hey, I'm bringing ice with me." And so like when I showed up, no one was
Oh.
there. Yeah.
Ah. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah. So a lady's, and this is like 9 minutes in my set, and I'm doing well with crowd work and improv, and she stands up and says, "You can't. My friend's illegal. You know, you can't be talking like that." And instead of me joking around and playing with it, I just wasn't ready, and I was very
Yeah.
new. And like also when you start comedy and you're new, you're kind of like you're a lot more vulnerable on stage. So if something does happen, you can be like embarrassed. And when I get really
Yeah.
embarrassed, I like that is kind of you can't embarrass me on stage anymore. But I guess then I'm only the person that can kind of embarrass me is like my mom and my wife in public, and it's kind of like that. Like I get mad. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like my mom can still embarrass me, and then if my wife gets mad, she's in another room. If my wife gets mad at me in public, or like says something that kind of like puts me down, I get like embarrassed and kind of embarrassed,
Yeah.
you know. So I think anyone would. So anyways, that's the way I felt, and I got mad at her, and I said, "My wife's Mexican, fuck you," like all this stuff, and then it got kind of like they stopped the show, and they like they grabbed the mic and took me off, right?
Oh God.
And
Rough.
yeah, right. And it was all like hipster people in like West Oakland. West Oakland's like the new Berkeley. And so, anyways, the next comedian, Chris Riggins, he goes up and he was like consoling me too. Like he got how I felt. You know what I mean? Everyone was
Yeah.
on
Oh, I
my side.
love Chris. Chris is wonderful.
Everyone was on my side. I just, in hindsight, I shouldn't have affected the show for everyone. But then Chris goes up and he goes, "I'm ice." And it kills. But here's the thing. I later on I post a picture because I filmed it and I did like a screenshot and I did a post about saying like how like I hate hecklers and la la la. And then I get comments of these little fucking punk kids at the show saying I had like a Michael Richards moment and like how I went crazy up there. I'm like, really? Michael Richards was saying the N-word in his
Yeah.
like, this is completely different. You know what I mean? And anyways, so that was a learning moment, that's for sure. And one other time, a lady just was being really mean with her heckles, and I stopped and I said something really mean to her to the point where the bartender had to walk up on stage. And I thought he was gonna hit me, but like I'm all about ego and looking tough, and so I was just standing there, like holding my. I'm a comedian, and
Yeah.
he didn't punch me, but he like whispered in my ear, like, "Hey man, you need to stop, or like I'm gonna kick you out of here." 'Cause I was going hard in this lady because she embarrassed me. So
Mm.
now I've learned my lesson. I be funny. I'm not. I don't know. If you saw my first set, which a couple episodes I played it, I'm like yelling at people not paying attention. I was very aggressive and I've slowly kind of became numb to everything. I think it's just the more comedy you do, the more you get used to it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I know you do a lot, and I just got on Stroy's radar. That takes a little bit. I did a show with him at Fairfax that on Broadway. Have you done that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's a
Well,
good
that's
one.
cool.
Tony's, and I
Mhm.
love Tony Sparks. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
He's such a nice guy. He makes you
Yeah,
feel
Tony's
like
great. I love
he's
working with
like
him.
motivating. He's like, "Hey, I love your stuff, and you're gonna be something, man." And I think he tells everyone the same thing because I find out people like kind of say like, "Hey, Tony said this about me." I'm like, "He said the same thing about me," you know. But he's a
Although
nice
he
guy.
doesn't say that about everybody.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
So
anyways,
it still means something is all I'm saying. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, anyways, no, I'm hoping to do more stuff in the city with Hella Funny and stuff now that I've performed with him. But I know you perform a lot,
Yeah.
and I mean, what have recently, because you're newer than me, and actually you're still fairly very new. What's like, I don't know, something you've learned? What do you think you've gotten better at recently?
Oh boy. Um, let's see. I mean, I think like so I have been doing a lot more shows lately and doing a lot of show running with Hella Funny.
You host a lot?
Yeah, I try to host whenever I can. I
That's
really do
tough.
like it.
Hosting's
Yeah.
really tough.
I think that's a great skill to work on just because you have to go up cold. Nobody knows you. The weight of the show is on your shoulders. You
Yeah,
have to be more or less likable throughout.
right,
You might be
right,
able to, you have to be able to get the show's energy back up if it nosedives for any reason. So, I
right.
mean, I think it's a great learning opportunity there, but um, I think in doing so many of the shows, like in show running lately, that I pay a lot more attention to who's in the audience. Okay,
Yeah.
what like look at their age, their demographics. Are they couples? Are they groups? Are they a lot of singletons? Just try to get a sense of who the audience is and then calibrate that to how they like my material. I know that
Right.
like this joke plays well here. Oh, but when I do it again with this other audience, it never goes over well. Like I have some jokes that bomb in front of an audience of Gen Z, but it consistently does great in a mixed audience or in an audience that's just slightly older. I'm like,
You do a lot of shows in San Francisco. Are they, is the rumor true? Are they more sensitive, you think? Because when I've performed, I don't think they are.
yeah, I mean, I'd say a lot of the time, if you have an audience that is on the younger side, one, the attention span is shorter, and two, um, I think that like the sensitivity means they don't know if they can laugh at it. And if like I can see the stage, if I can see people's faces from the stage, well, sometimes you cannot just because the lights are that bright and you can tell that people are there and you can get a little bit of reaction from them. But on the stage setups where you can really actually see people's facial expressions,
Yeah,
you can see if they're like starting to laugh and then they kind of have this okay, I can laugh
right.
reaction. Like there's a little bit of like a I'm holding on and checking what everyone else does first.
And I've heard that darker rooms help that situation because I've heard that when it's really light in a room, people tend to do that. Can I laugh at this? When it's dark, people just no one can see them laugh. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
being in a
yeah.
movie theater, right? And you'll even laugh hard and yell something, and no one could see it. You know what I mean? It could be a dumb part, and it doesn't matter. So there is definitely something, and you have to deal with that and not take it to heart. You know what I mean? Yeah, I've done shows like that. What's the one Big T runs? The Barbary Coast.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm
Everyone,
there
everyone,
in a week and a half.
everyone's super high.
Yeah.
So they may not be laughing out loud. It may take them a little bit, and then they laugh a little bit, and then they run out of breath because they've been smoking. You know what I mean? And a lot of them just laugh on the inside,
Yeah, and then they're sitting there frozen like
and they enjoy it.
this is so high. Yeah.
I had a couple one time I did a show. They didn't laugh at all my whole set, and afterwards the show ends, and it's a good show. There's good people, and they come up to me and they said, "You were my favorite." And I'm like, "What the? Did someone pay you? I think is that my mom's car? She give you a 20 to say that." So yeah, it's really like I think that's the other part of doing the comedy too. It's like not getting offended by outcomes, not being discouraged. Um, you know, just keep going.
Yeah, and that's what it is. You have to be very aware of all these little micro outcomes. You have to know, like, I think in the style of writing and the type of comedy that I like to do, it's jokes are a few minutes long,
Right.
to maybe 5 minutes, or like I even have a couple of bits that are like over 5 minutes long.
Right.
Um, and I like that. I like a little bit longer form, and I love to string that together in a much longer set there. But I know if I go into something and there's no reaction at the first 30 seconds or the first minute, like I have to get out of that, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm not
Yeah.
going to get offended or be like, oh my God, they hate me. I just have to know, what, just bail and go into something else. Like,
Yeah, and when you do that, do you ever just go into like crowd work instead of trying to do other material and see if that will kind of win them over a little bit before you go back to material?
yeah, yeah. I mean, there have been times I've called it out. I've been like, oh, you guys don't like this.
Right.
Okay. And then like try to dig into it another way and like get a feeler out there. Go into like get some kind of feeler through crowd work of like, could I go into something about being raised Catholic? Could I go into something about, working on Wall Street, about
You know what?
dating?
I was just gonna kind of tie that in. Do you think working in Wall Street has helped you with the comedy now?
Oh, I think it goes both ways. I think doing comedy has helped me professionally too, like or in an office environment, definitely. But I think there's been a lot of pros and cons to it. I know I gesture a lot on stage. I'm like, and another thing, I get into this like public speaking presentation mode and do
Uh,
that, and it's a little excessive. But I think that,
I think it's fine. I think people do act outs and they,
yeah,
you see the Italian comedians, they're always, Italians talk with
yeah,
their hands.
yeah. And I think that it doesn't get under my skin if people are not reacting. If I know it's like a little bit of setup and a small punchline, more setup and a small punchline, more setup, a small punchline, and then a bigger payoff. Like, I'm not going to get rattled if the process of getting to the bigger payoff takes a
Right.
little bit longer and people are like lukewarm on it because I know I'll get them eventually.
When you worked on Wall Street, did you have to jump in and joke around with the guys?
A lot of those jokes were so dumb anyway, it didn't matter. Or like, I know nothing about sports. Maybe you can coach me on this because like I don't. I'm like, people would sit there and talk about, did you catch the game? And I'm like, yeah, I caught the game. That was great when the guy threw the ball to the other ball. I'm like, okay, throwing. That was basketball or it wasn't hockey. I'm sitting there thinking like, what sport are we even talking about?
And
You
they're
know?
all and they're all misogynistic. Like, look at this dumb blonde. She doesn't
Yeah.
even know basketball and football. You know what I mean? Yeah, that had to be tough. That had to be really tough.
Oh, they would just count me out, but that's fine. I didn't really want to have those conversations anyway, but
Right.
I got a
I didn't
lot
know. I didn't
better.
know if you ever had to jump in and be like, "Hey, yeah, yeah, look at this queer right here. Yeah, look at this homophobe." You know?
Nah, no, I wish I did more of that and like practiced more of the trash talking back in the day,
Right.
but
Right.
didn't do much of that. Um,
Smart though. Smart. You stayed low. I want to make my money.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want to make any beefs or say the wrong thing.
But what I did get really good at is
Uh,
when there were meetings that were contentious. Like, say there's meetings where you've got different stakeholders all coming to the table and they want different outcomes and things like that. I know how to like get everybody on the same page and say, I hear you over here, I hear you over there, and leverage that to come to, come to some kind of conclusion that we're all comfortable with. But also, I know how to throw it back to them and be like, mess with them a little bit. Like, well, if you don't, I don't know, just give them shit for like, if you don't stop being so difficult over here, this whole company's gonna implode. Or
yeah. Oh, tell how it is. Yeah.
yeah, or so.
That's
I
why
mean,
you
just
kind
stuff like
of.
that, like rib
That's
them
why
a
you
little
kind of.
bit.
Yeah, you need. That's why you kind of need a woman in a group. You know what I mean? We had growing up. We always had a woman. Her name was Shannon. We called her like mom. She was like the mom of the group, and she'd be like, get off the roof. You're gonna break your leg.
Yeah. Oh, funny.
It's kind of like you were kind of like and she was in our group, kind of the voice of reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You need that with a group of guys. "Ah, ah," they're like bark. "Ah, ah," you know what I mean? You need a. We're like
Yeah.
dog. We're like dogs. You need to be like, okay, all right, guys, cool it, cool it, cool it. We can't chop the heads off these Japanese sales guys. We got to get this deal. You know?
Yeah, but I mean, it goes over a lot better to say like, don't present this in a meeting. Otherwise this is going to be a hold my beer and let's see what happens.
Right.
Rather than to say, I think you're going to lose the audience. I think you're going to lose everybody or something like that. So to just be like a little more playful with it has
Right.
helped me in the workplace.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I could see that. Yeah. Any crazy any crazy stories from then or now or anything recent that comes to mind?
Well, no, actually, I think a lot of the, in terms of just building alignment and getting everybody on the same page, it's like the skill from comedy is knowing how to read the audience
Right.
better and knowing like, okay, this is the way I have to talk to this person. This is the
Right.
way I have to talk to this person. And there are two totally different ways. If you do this one approach with the other person, it's just going to blow up spectacularly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. So, yeah, I could see how working Wall Street could help with the comedy too.
Oh, yeah.
Just dealing with just
Because
jerks.
frankly, everybody's a heckler on Wall Street, aren't they?
Right, right. That's what I'm saying. Oh my God. Yeah, I could totally see that. Like, did you have older brothers?
No, I'm the older of the two of us. My brother's a year and a half younger.
Oh, okay. Older cousins, did you deal with any bullying or any,
No, there was the usual playground bullshit. A lot of it was other girls, growing up.
Oh
Those were
man.
like, oh, the biggest bullies were other girls of just like, we don't do that. No, no,
Right.
no. We wear shorts this short, but not any shorter than that.
Is there girl bullying in comedy?
Ooh. Oh my God, let me out my fellow female comics. No, I'm
No,
kidding.
no, no
I'm just
names.
kidding.
No names. No names.
No, 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 no. I will say I've had a great experience. I know that there's a lot of challenges in the comedy community and a lot of people that have had bad experiences and this and that. But I think maybe that's where my Wall Street stuff comes in really handy is I know when to just pull back and
Right.
not engage on something that's gonna like become a rumor mill or
Right.
not get offended by something else because it's not gonna be worth it.
Right.
So I'd say by and large, and I've kind of opted into a lot of great female friendships in comedy, is I find a lot of the women in the Bay Area are just very supportive of one another.
Huh.
Yeah. So honestly, I'm just all around like pleased with it. I think it's been really great.
Wow. No dirt. Okay.
Honestly, no.
Man.
No dirt, but I gotta say, it's I just avoid stuff. If it looks like
Yeah,
it's gonna be drama, I try to stay away from it
I
anyway.
think that that's being experienced in life. It's a
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like comedy. It's a lot of like young and older, experience.
Yeah.
Um. So,
And I'll
but
tell you the secret. The secret, this is what I've found out, is you gotta genuinely be happy for other people's opportunities. So and
right.
so got a big show, celebrate it with them. Be happy for them. Check out, always be learning and whatnot too. So you're always improving yourself. But, I know people get butthurt all the time over why did somebody get this show and I didn't get it? You know
Yeah.
what? That never pays off.
Yeah. You're right, and
And that only hurts yourself.
I think that's a good, valuable lesson to learn early too in comedy and just life in general. 'Cause that's social media. You're like, oh my God, they have this. Look at that. That guy's got like I can't even go on my Mormon friends' Instagrams because they got like 5 wives. And I'm like, I get jealous. You know what I mean? He's got like I got one friend, he's got a black, he's got an Asian wife, I'm like I got in I Catholics being Catholic sucks in California. I got in the wrong
You're
Well,
Mormon, but for children when it comes to Catholics, just have a lot of children. I was raised Catholic, so I can, yeah.
well, I don't because California it's expensive. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Hey,
and
I have 0 kids, and that's why, because they are that expensive.
right, you wouldn't have your dope apartment in San Francisco with a kid. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. My dope 600 square foot apartment.
So you made hella money on Wall Street. You left on a boat into the sunset, and then you came back and you became a comedian in San Francisco.
Yeah, no, let's see. After working on Wall Street for like 15 years, I moved to Miami and I worked for a startup. Um,
Miami. Oh,
that was an interesting environment.
wow. Yeah, I want to party there.
Yeah, no, I mean, Miami's a fun place, but I found it a hard place to get your career going,
Right, right.
you
A lot
know?
of partying.
Yeah, that was the first time when I managed people that I had to be like, hey, can you not show up to work still drunk?
Wow. And they only speak Spanish there, right?
Well, there is a lot of Spanish there. I mean,
Yeah.
the office I worked in, we spoke English, but yeah, you go to do something like get a haircut, you have to learn. Yeah, that was really funny because I was trying to tell this woman what I wanted to get done to my hair. I was just like cut, like an inch or two off the ends, um, and I couldn't tell. I forgot if she was saying like the punta or the puta. And I was like,
Oh,
which one is it? Which one? She's
oh
because like
no.
right isn't the tip like
Yeah, I think one of them
you
means
speak
like
Spanish?
I don't, I should, but I
There is a
think
difference.
right.
The tip of your hair, for instance, is either the puta or the punta, and I forget which. But I also, in that lady's
Right.
haircutting chair, forgot at the same time, and she was pissed at me because I was trying to be very precise. And I was trying to like, she was mad that I couldn't tell her in Spanish what I wanted. I'm like,
Well, and I think punta means like bitch,
yeah. And then the
right?
other one means the tip.
Right, right. So that would be really stressful.
Yeah, so stuff like that. I was like, oh no, this lady hates me. I mean, it was obviously from her facial expression, from her body language that she hated me.
When
But
I
then I didn't know if she was talking about me being a bitch or me needing a little bit. I don't know if she's saying I was being a little bit of a bitch or I needed a little bit off the ends.
did she just shave your head?
Yeah, I had a full Britney Spears moment there with the
Yeah.
shaved head and the umbrella.
So the Miami and then what?
I was there for 2 years and then I moved out here to work for a fintech. So it wasn't really like the whole Wall Street thing anymore. It was much more like doing the finances for a company and helping the company set its strategy from a financial standpoint.
And during this time, do you think you're feeling kind of like, does it get hazy? My cat wants to come in.
Hmm.
During this time, do you get is it just like draining these kind of work environments? Like I feel like it would just get very depressing.
Ah.
Like what made you go from that to comedy? I feel like that's a very odd, you know,
Yeah. Oh, it is. I'm like the only person to wash out of corporate America into comedy. Usually goes the other way.
right,
You wash out of comedy into like, oh, I guess I'll get a day job.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what
No,
I
I mean,
mean,
I think the thing is, you have to keep giving yourself this like false hope in the workplace. Like, oh, I'm going to win over my boss, or we're going to get that project done and it's going to be successful and the company's going to be more profitable. Yeah, yeah. You have to keep building hope for yourself
yeah.
and for the people around you. And that gets tiring, sure. But I first took to comedy during the quarantine part of the pandemic. I
Mhm.
was just living in a studio apartment at that point, bouncing off the walls, completely like just bored out of my tree. You still couldn't get together with people. I was just looking for something new. So I started doing some comedy online. Found a workshop, found
But
some open
what
mics.
made you pick that out of everything? You could have picked knitting, you could have picked OnlyFans. I mean, what made you pick comedy?
Looking back on it, I should have gone with OnlyFans. Yeah. Really should have.
I should have too.
Oh my God.
There's
I
a
would have made
category
so
for
much more
everything.
money right now.
I'm sure I can get truckers to launch mine.
Yeah, right.
But
No.
yeah, you know what? I'm always fascinated by that. What made you pick this? I mean, have you always thought you were funny? Was it like it brings you happiness and you want to bring happiness to other people? What is it?
I just always loved comedy. I loved comedy specials, or in particular, listening to it on Pandora because I'm
Right,
that old.
right,
Now
right,
you know exactly how old
right,
I am.
right,
But
right,
like I just love listening to it, and like I'd get a sense of like the timing of it and the intentionality of the words, like why the comic chose to phrase it this way, or how it
right,
was like reveal a little bit of this and then boom, turn it on its head. And I just thought that like some people were just born knowing how to think that way.
right.
And then I just started searching around and I realized like duh, like anything else, you can learn anything, you
Hmm.
know? And so I just thought yeah, give it a week or two and then I'll be an expert. And no, uh kidding, but I just tried to
Did you
dive
think
into
it?
it. I'm like, we'll see what
Did you
happens.
think? Did you think it was easier than you thought? Like, did you think it was gonna be a more of a piece of cake comedy?
No, I think the thing that I was really surprised by was that as long as you're structured about going to open mics or writing and editing, um, and like you got to try something and then say, okay, that didn't work. Now we got something better. Okay, that worked a little bit better. You know, just keep like
Yeah,
iterating. I hate to say the word iterate in the Bay Area,
yeah,
but you know, you just that there is a lot of patience and tolerance, and like as long as you're not getting yourself canceled from day one by using language that you're not allowed to say, or you know, as long as you're not going overboard on day one,
yeah,
you know, you can keep working stuff out.
yeah. Yeah, I definitely learned that too. I dropped some words definitely in my sets. I mean, it also depends on where you're at. You can get away with certain stuff in certain cities and but yeah, with me though too, it wasn't so much about the writing and editing. It
Mm-hmm.
was also about being comfortable on stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, how did you get comfortable on stage? Like, what was the approach you
I
took?
think just doing it, and with my style, I'm very crowd work, improv, mix of my like I do writing on stage too. You know what I mean? Like under the pressure of having it to be funny, you'll be amazed what could come out. You
Oh
also be
yeah.
amazed what could come out, and you're like, ugh, I shouldn't have said that, but that's part of it. You can't do this and think you're not going to say something stupid or offensive or the wrong thing or sound like an idiot or you don't know what you're doing. Like you just have to take all of that, and that's really hard to deal with sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, the
And
hardest thing, something that I still find hard now, is doing crowd work and being playfully mean. You
right,
know, I'm like, oh, how long have you guys been together? Oh, that's cute. You know,
right.
stuff like that. I'm like, oh, I bet he's a real nice guy. You know, or like, it just, I end up being
Well,
too
that's cool.
friendly and too
Oh,
nice.
you think that's too friendly?
Yeah, I'd be too positive about it.
Well, you also could be too negative, and I kind of have low energy. I've have fallen under that where I actually want to be more positive because that is kind of fun if people know you're being like maybe sarcastic. You know what I mean? Because slowly you do find your voice of what you're best at. And some people are really good comedians being oh my God, oh, you're not
Oh,
fat. And you know what I mean? Like they can just be sarcastic the whole time. That's kind of their stick. You know what I mean? So you never know kind of what is gonna kill for you. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, and I think the longer you are in comedy, the more it's good to have like to tap into what your voice is and have some consistency there. Just
And
because it
try
lets you have more of a foundation to jump off of.
and trying the new stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And getting personal, because I feel like when you get personal, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Don't give
Yeah.
me a Will Smith joke. We fucking heard them all. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Sometimes you can be too topical. We've heard all the Bud Light jokes about trans. Give me something. Give me something I haven't heard. Tell me something about fucking, I don't know, finding out your mom was banging the mailman or something. You know, something I don't know. And
Where do
so
you think I got my red hair?
right,
That was my
right.
family's joke. That was the closest
Oh,
we came to
really?
sex jokes in my family. Was my brother and I had both, like, as kids, had bright red hair, and
Uh,
everyone else was a dark brunette.
yeah.
It's like, must be the mailman.
Yeah, that you know it's funny because my mom was the only person in her family with dark hair because we're Irish Italian background as well. And the funny part is my grandfather was stationed in Hawaii, and the whole family lived there. But my mom was born there, but she was born with dark hair and she was like tan and stuff, and so that was the joke that she was adopted or whatever. She was an island baby.
Ah,
So, and
adopted.
then too, Hawaii wasn't a state.
Oh,
Because Hawaii was like one of the last ones. I think Hawaii and Alaska. One of them was the last one to become.
yeah, they were 49 and
State.
50. Yeah.
So, anyways, I talk about myself too much on this podcast. That's why I gotta be interviewing people and getting more females on the podcast. Um, and just yeah, I mean, and I think a lot of people like to hear about comedy and stuff, and I think it's good to talk about it. Kind of gives a little background because when I got in comedy, I thought it was gonna be easy. I was like,
Ah,
"This is a slam dunk. I'm gonna be a Richard Pryor next week." I'm fucking
nice.
do
I
this,
like that
dude.
confidence.
And then I got in this. I was like, "Oh my, this is." I invited friends the first time I did it. I'm like, "I'm gonna murder this." No one listened to me. It was horrible. I played it a couple episodes ago. You can go back and listen to it. Midnight in the Bay on YouTube and everywhere else. But anyways, um, I think it's fun in it. You know, getting into it. I gotta get more in the writing aspect of it. I'm very good with short notes, but I don't know about you. I have a hard time sitting and writing paragraphs and fucking, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Like, I can write something technical. I could sit there and, like, I have to finish my taxes tonight, for instance. I could sit and write paragraphs on how to, step one, step 87 of, like, how to do
Right,
something like that. But to sit down and, like, watch the cursor blink at you, I'll be like, okay, be
right,
funny, be funny. Like,
right. That's tough. You know, I've gotten a lot of material to talking to people.
yeah.
You know, even doing this podcast, I do a lot by myself and just saying my little week because I do weekly notes, or like try to do daily little things, and just saying that stuff out loud, I can come up with something. You know what I mean? But usually talking to people, calling a friend, I'm like, fuck, I should say that. Going to a dinner party, dinner
Oh,
parties are
yeah.
great, especially if they don't know you're a comedian.
Oh my God.
You're just a funny person. Once they find out you're a comedian, it's a lot of pressure. They're judging everything you say. They're telling you you need to do this. I had one guy tell me you need to do more black jokes. I'm like, you want me to get canceled? you know?
Oh my
So,
God. I know I don't tend to do political jokes at all, just because I feel like everyone else has done it already,
right.
or like how, and from a pure, like, audience size standpoint, I know it's like, oh, geez, if you're liberal, you're going to lose half the audience because they're
Right.
conservative. Or you're going to lose, another 25% of the audience because they're down the middle, or,
Right.
whatever it is. Like, you doing political stuff, you easily just find yourself in a box.
Political, religion, and sports are the things you try not to talk about at the dinner table and also comedy. Unless you got some fucking fire, that is gonna kill and
Oh, yeah.
whatever. But stick with easy. I talk about pooping. Stick with something that's universal. That's not gonna offend. I mean, it might offend people if they're eating, but it's not gonna offend
Just don't
someone.
do
Like
that at dinner shows. You're
no
good.
one's gonna get a gun and be like, "You talked about poop." You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Right? So, but hey, Karen, we got to do a part two. I feel like it went by fast, but
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. I'm looking at the
yeah, I
time.
try not to go too long because this isn't the Joe Rogan podcast. And also, people got ADD, so I try to keep it like an hour or a little over. and then but we'll definitely do a part two, and then we'll do some shows together soon. I'm trying to work out some stuff, maybe get some shows out in the suburbs out here.
Yeah, yeah, great. Um, let's get on some shows together. I'm booking some things in the city, so love to get you on that. And I'm really excited if you'll let me plug something.
Yeah, go. No, do whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, on June 18th, I'm headlining a show. We're calling it Overachiever Barbie. And
Okay.
that's me. It's at Freight and Salvage Theater in Berkeley.
Oh my
And
God.
yeah, if you just go to the website for the theater, you can get tickets there. But it's going to be all me and my Catholic traumas and my Wall Street traumas and my dating traumas. And woo, it sounds like a joy, but it really will
Yeah,
be a
no,
fun time.
cool. Hey, that's really, it's kind of like a one woman show kind of thing.
No, no, no. It's comedy. There's going to be a lineup of other Bay Area comics
Oh,
too, but
cool. Okay.
I am doing about 30 minutes there, so really
That's
excited for
great.
that. Yeah, yeah.
That's great. You know what? I usually don't do that much time, and I recently did like 32 minutes Saturday, and it wasn't a huge audience because they had the Sacramento Warriors game, right? I mean, it's one
Oh
time.
yeah.
It's a killer for us comics, but it really made me realize I had to expand my stuff because you gotta kill your most your worry is running out of jokes, and you know what? No one ever goes into 30 minutes all fully prepared just to give you just to make you feel better, and that's good because when you're up there, it'll force you to add stuff and expand, do a little crowd work to mix it in, and to make your set longer. It's a different animal, but it's good to try that out. So good.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I'm so excited about embracing longer sets now, and you can yeah. So that's my focus for the next however many months. I'd say the next 6 months I'm working on longer and longer stuff. So
And
I,
are you promoting that on Instagram?
I will be. Yeah, we just got it finalized,
What
and
is
yeah,
it?
get a poster out there. Yeah,
What is
really
it?
excited.
What's your Instagram again?
Karen Braswell Comedy is my Instagram.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, go check her out. She works with Hella Funny, and they always book great comedians, so it's always a great show.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, I loved being on here tonight. And let's do a part two. I'd love to hear more about what you're doing, what your process is, and
Yeah, yeah, and I
we
like
can
to do
riff.
it
We can
more.
write a couple jokes if you want sometime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. No, like I said, that's my biggest hurdle is actually someone gave me some constructive criticism, which is this criticism, but in a friendly way. And just I will go on these rants and little tirades off of my little jokes, and
Uh-huh.
it will get laughs, but then it'll kind of fizzle out, and I'll kind of like mumble into something else, or just it just kind of looks unprofessional, and the person has told me I need to come up with punchlines, and that's it's just hard. It's hard when someone just say, "Hey, you just got to do this." You know what I mean? But that's why I don't talk to my family too much about comedy.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, thanks for coming on, Karen, and we'll talk soon. And yeah, enjoy your week. Okay.
All right. Sounds great. Thank you so much for having me. And we'll talk again real soon, Alex. Bye.
Okay. Hi.
See ya.
All right. Okay.